I know you're tired. I know you're hurting. And I wish I could say something that was classy and inspirational.
You can do it!
But that just wouldn't be our style.
Welcome to Project Reclamation, where you rebuild, re-energize, and reclaim your life. All right. Well, Steve is MIA.
It's just the two of us.
Just
talking about nothing at all. Just the two of us. Tim and JB. Yeah.
All right. So JB, you just got back from your first show. That's exciting.
Yeah.
I just got back from CVS. Also super exciting. So yeah, dude, I go to CVS and I come back. And what's in my bag? Some bourbon, some body armor, which is apparently some sort of Gatorade-ish drink, and some popsicles and some Afrin.
It sounds like you should be coming home to a seedy motel room. Like home
yes.
Is like, a Red Roof Inn.
Maybe my home is the fucking Red Roof Inn, dude.
Well, I'm just saying,
Yeah, that is kind of what
it's not like you went to like Lazy Acres or what's the other high-end grocery store and you like bought like some kale and some extra virgin olive oil that cost you $35. You like?
Well, dude, I'm half Italian. I don't need to buy olive oil. I just have to rub the pan on my head or wring out my skin. But hey, for those of you who have oily skin, such as myself, you know what? It helps with wrinkles. My mom is in her mid-late 50s. No wrinkles. Yeah. Phenomenal. So there's upsides to being Italian. Yes, there is.
Or chubby.
Or chubby. Well, yes, chubby. Yes, that's true.
Because fat.
Although then you lose a bunch of weight and you just look like
skin.
Yeah, then you lose a bunch of weight and you look like there's, I don't know.
But I think you still retain the chubby elasticity of your skin.
I would agree. I mean,
I don't know. You've lost like a ton of weight lately. Do you?
I've lost.
Does it still feel like that? Your skin is supple and.
It's still. I'm losing weight rapidly.
Or do you look like the Crypt Keeper?
No, not at all, dude. Not at all. I mean, my face has actually rebounded almost completely, but it's not quite at the same speed that I'm losing weight. So it's like I'll lose weight 1 week, or let's say whatever, and then like a month later, maybe I haven't lost another pound, but everything has kind of rebounded a little bit. So your skin definitely takes a minute to catch up.
Yeah. It's kind of like the speed of sound versus the speed of light.
Exactly.
You see it, and then all of a sudden,
so the lightning
a few seconds
versus
later,
the
you
thunder.
Hear it. Exactly.
Yes, exactly.
Lightning and the thunder. And all of a sudden, this turns into an Imagine Dragons song.
Dude, everything transitions to an Imagine Dragons song.
Doesn't it?
Like, Radioactive, Demons. I love that song, Demons.
I think I've heard it. Which is it off their first album or the second? Where I don't even know how many albums they have, but the latest one.
I can't even.
It doesn't. It really doesn't matter.
I believe the lead singer or whoever does most of their writing. It's about him dealing with like I don't even want to say mental illness. It's but like I guess like depression, anxiety, that kind of stuff. Kind of like those low level mental illnesses that we all suffer from. Some of us obviously suffer worse than others, and I think there's nothing wrong with getting some clinical intervention in the way of someone to talk to, or even some pharmaceuticals that are prescribed. So it's kind of.
I'm beginning to think that social media is a mental illness.
Social media is absolutely a mental illness, and so is politics and the news.
Religion.
Hey, it's Paige.
To a certain degree.
Steve's not here. You don't have anyone to harass.
That's so funny. Yeah. Your dog is barking and my son is crying at the exact same time. This is so weird.
I mean, your child is crying. My child is angry at something. Who
barking.
Knows what? She's angry that somebody is walking outside her house.
It's just weird that they both happened at the same time.
It is kind of weird, I mean,
because I have him pulled up on this iBaby app, and
you're stalking your son. That's interesting.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. When I'm on the road, man, that's the only way to be able to see him.
Can he see you?
No, that would be weird. I don't walk around with like a GoPro pointing at my face.
But I mean, okay, let me rephrase that question.
That would require a screen on his side too. It's just
let me rephrase that question. Do you do like FaceTime with him when you're gone?
Oh yeah, I do.
Okay.
I do that. This is like iBaby. It looks like what's that little robot? The little.
It's like, dude. It's like a. I'm guessing. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm guessing it's like a baby monitor with a video feed. Correct?
Yeah, I mean, just like anything else these days, for sure. It's nothing like exclusive or cool. It's just
and they have those. I've always wanted to do. They have those for. I mean, I guess I could use the exact same thing, but I mean, they have those like made for dogs too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've always wanted. Well, I don't know. I've never really cared that much. People say it would be interesting. Oh, see what your dog does. You know, I'm pretty sure my dogs, when I'm gone, they just fucking sleep. Like, I don't think they do anything interesting, because I think they're more active when I'm home, because they're like, ooh, Tim's home. Like, they're incredibly intelligent for the very small amount.
What would be cool is if they like put on like top hats and tails and had like tea parties while you were gone.
See, that would be amazing. But let's be honest. I think they're highly intelligent enough to understand, because like when I'm like, it doesn't matter what time it is. If it's 2 a.m. and I'm awake and I'm like around, like they want to be part of it, because they're like, ooh, let's hang out. But if I go to sleep, like I'm pretty sure they just go to sleep. So I'm pretty sure all day they just hang out and sleep. And I think most of their barking and all their guarding that they do, I think that has a lot to do with protecting their humans, because they feel like that's their job.
Absolutely.
And yeah. So I think when I'm not home or when I'm whatever, I honestly don't even think they do that. I think they just whatever.
You know,
I mean, they might a little bit.
You know what I love about dogs?
They're amazing.
Well, that they don't have there's no possible way for them to be or understand sarcasm.
No.
And I mean, I'm extremely sarcastic, but I feel like that's been a defense mechanism over the years. And I mean, use it as in comedy and stuff like that. Not that I'm a comedian, comic, whatever. But
you kind of are, though. I mean, like you don't get paid for it, but
I feel like I approach people though with a certain, and I assume that they're being sarcastic, which I know is like a character flaw on my side.
Not necessarily. So like, stop beating yourself up, dude.
Well, no, but I'm saying like I've just noticed this, like people who are extremely genuine, like if they're like being genuine and it's like really genuine, I feel like they're fucking with me.
I get that sometimes though too.
Well, I'm not saying I'm the only person that does it. I'm just saying it's one of those things. It's
no, like, I'm saying
that's what people love about dogs, and I think people share that sentiment to a certain degree.
It's just they are totally genuine and like they don't judge you, they don't care. I mean, it doesn't matter what you did that day. Yeah, and you come home and that dog just is so happy that you're there.
Now, fucking cats, on the other hand, they are just dripping with sarcasm, and they have claws, and they make me sneezy and allergic.
Me too. Here's the thing about dogs, and I've said this before, is that the coolest thing about dogs is I feel like dogs and David Goggins have something in common. And there's something. No, dude, hold on. Hear me out here. There's something simplistically. There's something simplistically highly intelligent and that I envy, and that you absolutely will envy when you hear my point, if it makes sense to you. They do not second guess themselves for a second. Yeah. They have a very, very simplistic endpoint to anything that they're trying to do. It's like they have literally a handful of things that they want to do in life every day. And that's like eat, drink, sleep, play, have sex if they haven't been fixed, whatever. But the point is, whatever they're trying to do, if Jax is like, I'm tired, his only thought is, where am I going to sleep? How am I going to sleep? He doesn't second guess himself ever. And that's something that, I mean, that's, something that you're plagued by, I'm plagued by, human beings are plagued by, is the ability to not second guess yourself. And I feel like David Goggins calls himself, simplistic sometimes, but I think that the beauty of his persistence and his fortitude for going towards goals is that he doesn't he's like, I want to do this. And then that is his only goal. He doesn't second guess. Well, can I do it? I don't know if I can do it. No. It's like, I'm going to run a 100-mile race. And I've only been doing 20 minutes a week on Sundays on the elliptical. But the fact that failure is not even an option to him. Like, he's just like, okay, so how am I going to do it? All right. Okay, that didn't work out, so I'm going to do it this way. And that's like exactly that's how a dog sees things. Well, and I'm not insulting David Goggins, because I think that's fucking amazing, because the ability to have a goal, find out what you want, and then just go after it, and then just be completely persistent, no matter how many times you fail, and then until you reach your goal, it's kind of amazing.
Well, it's equal parts instinct and intellect.
Absolutely.
Whereas most of us, I think we try and be more intellectual and try and outthink our instincts. And that's where we get into trouble, is that, you start overthinking and the instinctual side of it goes out the window. And that's more of what you need. That's out of that equation. It's like, I feel like you need both of those parts. Like you're saying, a dog is smart enough to know what it needs, and it's instinctual enough to do it. It runs off of that instinct. Yeah. I think we're losing a lot of that. As human beings moving forward with society and technology, is, instinct is very valuable, but it's kind of going by the wayside for some reason.
We just did an episode about failure, and it's like, when you have that mindset, like, there is no failure. Failure doesn't even exist. It was just, okay, that didn't work. So, I mean, technically that was failure, but that's not how it's seen. Like, that's not how David Goggins sees it. That's not how Jack sees it. That's not how Paige sees it. And there's obviously other people around that are similar to that, but, you know, they don't even see it as failure. Like, okay, well, let's check off, you know, that first number 1 didn't work. Moving on to number 2. What's number 2? Okay. Like, I mean, I said in an earlier podcast, you know, if there's a treat or a bone under the couch, you know, Paige she'll never get it because she can't, but she will continue for hours and days to try and get whatever it is she wants to get under the couch.
She will get rich or die trying.
Yeah, absolutely. And this
should be Jax, Paige, David Goggins, and 50 Cent. That should be the name of this episode.
I'm going to write that down. Jax.
And we're only going to mention 50 Cent for that one time.
That's all he gets. Sorry, yeah. Curtis, whatever your name is.
Curtis Jackson.
Although, have you ever seen that show Power?
No, I have not.
So, you've never seen the show Power?
No.
So I think he's one of the writers on that show. It's kind of a good show.
Are you talking about 50 Cent for Curtis Jackson?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Curtis Jackson. Well, it's not Jackson, it's not Paige, and it's not David Goggins. So yeah,
well, that's why I thought maybe it could be David Goggins.
I'm just fucking with you.
Well, I mean, your dogs are pretty intelligent, so I mean, they
like
are.
I
said, when you're gone, they could be donning top hats and
they could. I never know. I really don't.
Smoking cigars and writing for the show Power. You never know.
It's very possible. I mean, they are incredibly intelligent. Although the interesting thing is there is a lot of dogs, and I've encountered dogs who are, by my account, less intelligent than Jackson Paige, who can look at a phone with FaceTime or something similar to that and recognize the owner or whatever, or hear the voice on a phone and recognize it. These dogs can smell or hear. I'm not sure which one of their senses they're using, or maybe it's a little bit of both. One of us, literally 20 to 30 minutes before we walk through the front door. So that means literally from miles away in our car, they know we're coming home.
Yeah,
which
they're
is insane.
The energy.
But you show Jax or Paige, like Shannon or Brett on FaceTime, or you let them hear their voice on speakerphone, and they just could not care less. Like it doesn't even register. And maybe it has something to do with you know this, JB, because you're an audio guy. But the reason that we sound a lot of people think they sound funny on phone or like voicemail recordings is because the phone. Maybe you can actually help me out here. The phone cuts off the top and the bottom of the frequencies so that it condenses it.
It amplifies the frequencies. You know, the 1K tone. The reason it's the emergency broadcast tone is that boop, because that's the tone that the human ear hears most easily.
Okay. Okay.
So that's at the peak of our frequency response. So
right.
That's kind of what they model that.
Okay.
The phone. Filter after,
but it does crop the frequencies
for sure.
So when people think they sound different on the phone,
that's why you sound like this.
Right. So people really do sound different on the phone
for sure.
I've always hated my phone voice, but then again, when we first started this podcast, when we first started this podcast, I hated my podcast voice, which basically just means I hate my voice. But now I like it. Maybe it's just a matter. It's all me coming around and getting rid of all that self-loathing. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think my voice is kind of sexy sometimes.
You know what? Loathing is such a bad word, but I think it sounds so good. Like, I love the word loathe.
Well, it's so close to love.
Yeah, it's like
loving and loathing.
Yeah, it's like you know how some bars of soap have those little scrubbing beads in them. I feel like loathe is love with the little scrubbing beads.
So it's like a love. It's like a loving loofah.
Yeah,
loofah love.
Yeah.
It's loofah love.
Yeah, for sure.
I like it.
Which is
so
funny,
yeah,
because it's I don't know.
Yeah. So what are you drinking, JB?
I'm drinking tequila.
What kind of tequila?
It is. Oh crap. Luna Azul.
Oh,
so Blue Moon for all you English speakers out there.
So it's the same as the beer.
It's affordable. No, well,
no, it's not.
Yeah,
I know. I understand.
It's not
that.
at all.
No,
but
not even a little bit.
For sure, it doesn't taste like
dude.
oranges.
When I was I was in Puerto Vallarta and I went on a tour of a tequileria. Is that how you say it?
Tequileria.
Tequileria. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think the tequileria is like I don't know if that's I don't know if it's like a distillery. I think maybe that's like the bar that they serve tequila.
Well, then I'm saying it wrong. Then it was wherever they distill.
I have no idea. It might be. I've been.
No, you might be right. You might be right
because like like a taqueria. I guess they make tacos.
I think you're right, dude. I think you're right. Okay, so whatever it was, it was a tequila distillery. We'll go ahead and speak. I will speak English. It was a tequila distillery. And that was where I learned about, dude, I didn't even understand. I didn't even know that there were like different kinds. This is years ago. I didn't even know there was like different kinds of tequila. Like you got the what is it? There's three different kinds.
Añejo, Reposado, and Blanco.
Blanco's
not in that
Blanco's
order.
the one
Blanco,
that we typically take shots
Reposado,
of.
and Añejo.
Blanco is the unaged, clear stuff.
Yes.
Añejo is the one that's in the middle, and Reposado is the one that's like super aged. I think.
I think it's the other way around. I think
Okay,
Reposado is the one that's medium aged, and Añejo is Añejo being more than 1 year maybe.
Okay, so but some of those like they have some of the añejos have like they have the complexity of a good whiskey. I mean, why? I feel like it's not marketed well or something. I don't know. Like, I mean, you could totally drink that on the rocks and just sip it. I mean, it's
well,
amazing.
It just goes to show. I mean, being a executive bourbon steward. The whole...
You just had to bring that up again, didn't you?
I did. I'm sorry.
Way to be modest, dude.
Dropping names. Well, I'm just saying. I'm trying to, impress the
I'm
gravity
kidding,
of the
man.
situation.
I will fucking yell from the rooftops every great thing about JB Beckstead because
no, you don't
amazing.
Have to do that.
No. But I did. Fuck you, dude. I'll do what I want to. Go fuck yourself, man.
The bourbon world it's all hype right now. I mean. That's why, I really want to do like a YouTube series called Bottom Shelf because there's so much good bourbon on the bottom shelf.
Dude, why don't you?
I will. I just need to, make
I'll help
time
you
to do it for sure.
Let's do it.
But that doesn't mean that it's the same thing with tequila. That this just doesn't have the hype, and it doesn't have the...
But all the hype on tequila is it's all a shooting liquor. That's all it is. Like nobody bourbon
that's a stigma. Yeah.
Well, but no, it's not even a stigma though. That's the marketing.
On
I mean, that is the conversation.
It's getting the other way because you got guys like George Clooney, investing in Casamigos and then way overcharging for tequila.
Okay.
Once you put
they've been overcharging for Patron and stuff for years.
And that's all marketing. And that's it's the same thing. But with bourbon, I feel right now,
you're absolutely right.
A majority of the brands
you got me into bourbon before the hype happened, and that was back when I want to say maybe 10 years ago there was a huge Scotch hype, and it was all about Scotch, and that was when it was during the Scotch hype that I remember I was fucking with this. This must have been 6 or 7 years ago because I think it was when I was out there for your 30th birthday.
Okay.
And that was right in the middle of this huge Scotch hype. It was all about Glenn this, Glenn that, Johnny this, Johnny that. And don't get me wrong, I love Johnny Walker. Yeah. But that was when you got me into bourbon. You're like, dude, and it's interesting because you have now we have more bourbons in California now than we used to. But back then, especially like 10 years ago, there was you had a lot more because there's a lot of regional bourbons obviously in your neck of the woods rather than mine.
Yeah, Kentucky is kind of the home of the bourbon.
Yeah, exactly. So you had more access to that. So there was a lot of stuff that now I can buy in the store that, I could only get out in your neck of the woods. So yeah, you kind of turned me on to bourbon and how bourbon it kind of had almost like a white trash redneck stigma at the time because it wasn't Scotch. Like Scotch is such a sophisticated drink, and how could you drink bourbon? Bourbon's for white trash. But now, of course, like you said, bourbon is kind of taken that seat as it's the new hype. It's the new band that you liked when they weren't popular, and now they're popular.
It's the whole hipster, PBR liking things that were previously thought of as lowbrow, and then building them up, and now it's all highbrow and.
Exactly.
Which is why I like to see through all that. I mean, there are some really good expensive bourbons, but at the same time, you can get amazing quality bourbons for a third to a fifth of the price.
There's so many bourbons.
Yeah, and honestly, a lot of the stuff is extremely similar. And if you didn't have a trained palate, you really wouldn't tell the difference, which is kind of what we used to do, like in college when we would put charcoal filtered vodka in Grey Goose and Belvedere bottles.
No one noticed the difference. You know why? Because vodka's garbage. Honestly, dude. I kind of feel that way, but I'll be honest. Like if I am drinking vodka, which I think I can have a sort of unbiased opinion about, I'll just go with Tito's because it's cheap and it's better than most of the ones that you pay twice as much for. Like I pay $18 for a bottle, and I think Tito's is better than. It's better than, say, Grey Goose, Belvedere, like all those. take this from a guy who I do not like the taste of vodka. People say vodka, oh, it's great, it doesn't taste. I think it tastes like gasoline. I mean, I'm not off drinking gasoline in my free time or anything. That's just that's the best analogy
I love sniffing gasoline. It's like kind of...
Yeah, I kind of do like the smell of gasoline in the morning.
It's kind of a guilty pleasure. But it was funny in the distilling process when you're making bourbon, the clear distillate, just like the White Lightning, if you want to call it that, in distilling they call it vodka because it's pretty much what it is.
Vodka probably means unaged or something like that in some language. It's some Russian language.
Spirit distilled from a certain grain or whatever. It's unaged.
They don't really. I don't see very many of them, and they're not very marketed. But I mean, there are unaged whiskeys, and they're clear.
Yeah,
and they're horrible.
Well, that's moonshine. That's the
Well, okay. Well, I kind of like moonshine though, but I mean, like, there's ones that you can drink at the bar and you can buy at the store. Well, I don't know if I've ever seen one at the store, but I've had.
There's Popcorn Sutton, who was a world-renowned moonshiner. Yeah, who just passed away in the past 10, 12 years maybe. They put his name on some, and it's basically a way for distilleries to make a quick buck because they don't have to age their product.
No, it's fucking phenomenal. Yeah. I think Angel's Envy has a version of their bourbon that is unaged, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
There's a ton of. There's literally.
Have you ever been to Container Park in Vegas?
Container Park.
It's called Container Park. It's not near the Strip. It's in downtown Vegas, which a lot of people call the Old Strip because it is the Old Strip. Which personally I think is Fremont Street. Exactly, Fremont Street is the Old Strip. I think it's cooler because literally Fremont Street is not an actual. It was a street, but now you can't walk. You can't drive up and down it. Like, it's literally just walking.
Yeah, you got the stages
prices
and the big video screen and
it's super cool and it's super cheap and super affordable and it's just as fun as the new Strip. But anyways, so there is a place right near Fremont Street called Container Park. It's super cool. It's this whole park, and it's got two floors of restaurants, boutique stores, and bars. And literally every building and every store and every staircase and everything in that little area, and it's not that little. I mean, it's a decent little thing, is made out of shipping containers. So every restaurant is either
just a clever name. Yeah.
No. Every restaurant is a single or double shipping container, and then they have a whole So anyways, in container. So if you guys are going to Vegas, and if you want to do the whole big club Hakkasan MGM thing, go for it. I'm all for it. I've done it a million times. It's cool. I'm not going to knock it. Not my thing right now at 36. However, if you're looking for something slightly different to do in Vegas, go check out Fremont Street and go to Container Park. It's very cool. There's a couple of good restaurants. There's a really good barbecue spot. There's a really good Mexican spot there. And literally they're all made out of shipping containers. Super cool. So there is a bar there, and I forget what it's called, but it's an American whiskey bar. And what they do is they have flights of whiskey. So you can literally, like they do flights of beer and flights of wine. You do a flight of whiskey and you get, a little bit of each of a different flight of whiskey. And they have all sorts of different flights, but it's all American whiskey. It's very cool. And then they have one that they call the brown bag flight. And it's where they literally have, I think what is a flight, JB? Is it 3 or 4? I think it's 3.
I think it's just more than one.
Okay.
I don't know.
So it's either 3 or 4. So they have 3 or 4
number.
things that and you don't know what they are. So they kind of coach you through it if you want them to, and basically guessing, not necessarily guessing the brand, but guessing is it a bourbon? Is it a rye? What's the third one? There's a third one.
Well, I mean, there's wheaters, there's wheated whiskeys, there's bourbons, there's ryes, Scotch, there's Irish. I mean, if you want to get into,
if we're talking American whiskeys, that kind of takes Irish and Scotch off the table, doesn't it?
I mean, I guess technically, but I don't think.
All I remember is there was 3. There's 3 different kinds.
I'm getting super technical, but
so anyways, basically there's 3 different kinds it could be.
Probably bourbon,
and
rye,
so basically they kind of
whiskey,
walk you through. I just remember bourbon and rye. So they walk you through kind of well, is it spicy? Is it hot kind of in the front of your mouth or the back of your mouth? Do you think that it's below 86 proof or above 86 proof? And they kind of walk you through how to sort of train your palate to taste. And it's very cool. I don't even remember where I was going with the story, but it's very cool because they kind of teach you, and through that process of them making you kind of gauge what taste you're tasting from each whiskey, and kind of walking you through the process of how to guess, is it a high proof, is it a low proof, is it a rye, is it a bourbon, and all that. It's very cool.
No,
so
I think
totally
that's
worth checking
extremely valuable, because you can get really overwhelmed getting into any sort of spirits. I mean, it's just like wine or beer or anything like that. I mean, beer may be a little bit less because it's not as expensive, but you hear all these Pappy Van Winkle names, and it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna spend $1,300 for a bottle that you never open.
Yeah, when you call your friend JB, and JB's like, oh, by the way, that's made by the same people that make Buffalo Trace, which is what Tim's drinking right now, and they also make one called Weller. And Tim, I'm pretty sure Weller and Pappy Van Winkle are the same, from the same stuff,
it's
if
pretty
not
much
the
the same
exact
liquid.
same batch.
Just,
it's
yeah.
kind of like, I would almost liken it to maybe like the Keystone and Coors.
Yeah.
Am I right there? Okay, yeah, Keystone and Coors, and then what is it, Busch and Bud? Literally,
yeah,
you're getting the same beer that came from the same actual thing, like the same batch.
Well, and you're saying about these flights and stuff like that, like especially the brown bag one, where it's kind of an educational experience.
Well,
so
it's totally an educational experience.
And you're learning to appreciate it more rather than just like blindly throwing money at something and getting drunk. It's like, I mean, you can do that with anything.
Exactly. And like, you might have a different appreciation for it than me, because you could actually go in and use your expertise that you have gained through your stewardship. But for me, it was just a very cool learning experience, because the guys there are all super, and it's kind of an old timey, like it's got kind of like a 19,
like a speakeasy kind of thing.
No. Go further back. Almost like did you ever watch the show Hell on Wheels?
Oh, like a saloon type vibe.
Yes, very much saloon type. So the dudes all have like handlebar mustaches or like waxed mustaches and these big sideburns, and yeah, it's very much like, what would that be, like 1700s? Like,
no, that'd be 1800s. America.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's got like an 1800s saloon feel. The guys all kind of look the part. They are all extremely well versed in their whiskeys, and it's just a cool learning experience. So yeah, if you guys are ever in Vegas, you have any sort of desire to learn anything about whiskey and training your palate for whiskey, or at least just understanding what whiskey is, it's very cool, and you can learn a lot. So
man, I've been to Vegas hundreds of times. I need to go check this place out. Not hundreds of times,
you
but
really, really do.
So I've probably been to Vegas 40 times.
I have been to Vegas way too many times, and I would say I have a strong appreciation for everything about Vegas that nobody knows, and my appreciation for the stuff that people actually like about Vegas is very, very low right now.
Yeah. Oh, likewise. I always like to say I have a love-hate relationship with Vegas.
Vegas is there's got to be a counterpart in Nashville. It's so the Strip in Vegas, for people who live there, is essentially the thing that nobody that lives there does unless people are visiting from out of town.
Yeah, which is basically Broadway in Nashville.
There you go.
Or, there's something like that in every town, really.
It's like everything in San Diego. I'm like, oh, look, the beach. I haven't been to the beach in a long time.
Oh my God, let's go see Shamu. Oh my God.
No, it's cool though. Like I was dropping someone off the airport the other day, and just when you're driving, if you guys haven't been to San Diego, it's crazy. The airport is like right downtown. The planes are basically traversing high rises to land. It's insane.
Pretty cool.
It's very insane. However, the airport is one of the coolest airports in the whole country, because it's big enough to get a direct flight pretty much anywhere you want, plus international flights. But it's small enough where if you literally show up 22 minutes before your flight, you can make your flight. It's one of the least drama, least hassle airports in the entire country. And I think JB will back me up on this. JB's probably the only person I know that's been on more flights and been to more airports than I have, because I fly a lot and JB flies even more. It's just, you drive to the airport. And when you get off the freeway, you go down and you go right to kind of almost to the ocean. And then you turn and you go to as you're heading towards the airport, you can look kind of across the bay and you're looking at the San Diego skyline. And
an aircraft carrier.
I cannot get enough of that, because it's just something that I live here, dude. Like it's literally 5 miles from my house. And whenever I'm driving to the airport and I look at that skyline, I'm like, dude, San Diego really is a fucking beautiful city. Like, it is amazing. It's an amazing city. It really is. I mean, it's the nickname is America's finest city, and I get it. It's an amazing city. And I mean, there's a lot of California cities that are kind of cool. People like LA, people like San Francisco. I could go on a rant for 15 minutes, probably 15 hours, about how much I hate those two cities. They have their merits, and don't get me wrong. Like, there's cool things about LA. There's cool things about San Francisco. I would probably commit suicide before I'd live in the Bay Area, but it is what it is. But it's nice to visit. I like visiting. Oh, look, Brett's home. Hi, Brett.
Hey, Brett.
Hi. JB says hi.
Hey, JB.
So
Brett says, hey.
in the whole scheme of, so you were talking about what America's finest city.
Yeah. So I guess
we did a show somewhere. I think it was. I'm trying to think. Maybe it was Boise. It was somewhere in Idaho, I think. And their little disclaimer at the airport, you know, those banners when you're coming down into baggage claim was,
of course,
America's most livable city. And
that's kind of a weird terminology. That's like a weird wording.
I know that was where, like,
but you know what? I would bet money that's based on some sort of study that was done.
Oh, for sure. Like, you know, the most mean average income.
Right. Like,
you know, you can get the most money for your most
call it, affordability
kind of thing. Yeah.
They might have thrown in and a lot of those studies too, they have like multiple, they have multiple measures. It's like, their range of happiness or their range of, like, you know, I don't know.
Yeah. And life expectancy and all that. Yeah.
Health.
It just screamed like, it is like, we're the most middle city ever.
But you know what though? I know. So, like, you know, Boise's not too far away from here. I know a lot of people who have lived there, been there, do live there. And people seem to think it's a pretty awesome city. I mean, I like
Boise. I have family in Boise.
Yeah, I mean, it's a super clean city, super hospitable city, affordable city. There's a lot to do there, especially if you like the outdoors. I've heard a lot of good things. Here's my question: is it Boise or Boise?
Boise, like
that's what
like BOYC. Think of it. Yep. Think of spelling it like that.
That's what I've heard.
That's what people from
Boise. But here's the thing, though.
You.
Well, it is and it isn't, because they're too nice to correct you.
No, I mean, they'll tell you. They'll tell you. I mean,
well, they'll tell you nicely. It's almost like there's almost like a Canadian niceness there.
Well,
like,
they are closer to Canada than
hey, I would have pronounced it Boise, but it's okay however you pronounced it. I'm just gonna go back to eating my poutine now.
Yeah, poutine.
But I mean, they have river rafting, they have camping, they have hunting. I mean, if you enjoy the outdoors at all, I would say it's not a bad place to go. Montana too, although Montana's pretty brutal. They got seasons
everywhere in the Pacific Northwest kind of area.
Yeah.
I believe is awesome, in my opinion.
You know, it's weird. I was talking to someone from Oregon, and Oregon is a weird state, dude. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but it's just because Portland is so very Portland. You know, keep it weird, Portland. It's super hipster, super liberal, and that's cool. I like Portland. I dig Portland. So it's a beautiful city. I don't know if I haven't been to Portland enough to know if I would enjoy the rain, because I don't think I would. And I don't think it's as bad as Seattle, but it's a beautiful city. I like it. I dig it. But then you go, like, Portland is very Portland. I've driven through Portland twice, and it's very interesting because every other part of Oregon, I've driven to Oregon twice, and every other part of Oregon is just so much different than Portland, because it's very much like truckers and hunters and ranchers, and just very
like Canada,
ultra right wing, ultra like guns and God kind of shit. And again, there's nothing wrong with that either. I'm a guy who takes a step
like
back
California, bro. You go away from any of the coastal cities in California, it's exactly the same thing.
Well, no, you're absolutely right.
I mean, you
degree, go to if you're on the coast versus like an hour and a half away from the coast, any latitude in California,
I just made a realization.
It's going to be real similar.
Maybe water makes you liberal.
Maybe there's something in the water. Interesting.
Salt.
Super interesting. It's a salinity thing. So you're saying that liberalism is really a salinity derived mental condition?
Say that again.
Liberalism is a salinity derived. Damn it! Now I lost it. It was so good too. It's a salinity derived mental condition, or you could even say that conservatism is a lack of salinity derived mental condition.
Yeah,
because
we're getting somewhere.
And you know what?
There is
so for those of you who don't know anything about California, California has this I would say stigma of being super, super liberal, and I would say it's probably more liberal than it used to be, because I think a lot of the conservatives left, but there's still a lot of them around. And now if you go to any coastal city, although San Diego is a little bit of an exception, and that's, I think, simply because of the military component of our city, because San Diego, for those of you who don't know, is I believe, from what I've heard, I don't have confirmation on this, but the most militarized city in the entire country, maybe world, who knows. We have, I think, 26
per capita.
We have 26 high 20s to low 30s. I want to say 26 military bases in San Diego County. We are the guardians of the Pacific Fleet. I mean, it is what it is. And we have a ton of military people that live here, and a ton of retired military people that live here. And military people, I believe, probably have especially military people of the past, have a bend towards being, I would say, slightly more conservative than liberal, although I think that lies mostly in things that could really make them veer to be libertarian or conservative. It doesn't really matter because I don't think there's a huge social component to that. And for those of you who don't know, whatever, I'll just go ahead and say it. I'm a libertarian. It means I'm socially...
Does that mean you show kids where to find books in the library?
I am a libertarian, which means that I wear glasses and I dress up like an old lady and I show kids where to find books in the library. I am very well versed in the Dewey Decimal System.
Dewey Decimal. I don't know. Dewey Decimal? Do we not decimal?
I don't understand. You know, it's funny. So just to completely throw another story out the window before we finish it, because that's what we do here at Project Reclamation. Where the hell was I going with this? I have no idea.
You were talking about San Diego and the political leanings of its past.
Oh, so what I was going to say is San Diego is the one exception in California as being a coastal city that may possibly be more conservative than liberal. But if it is, which it may not even be anymore, although I think it is, but it doesn't matter. By and large, California coastally is super liberal, but you go inland and it's very much the opposite. And it's very interesting. There's even parts of California which are super rural, and you go, and I swear, people that live there, they live on ranches, they have horses and cattle and all sorts of other stuff, and some of them even have Southern accents. And that sounds weird. It does, but it's true. Jamie, backing up on this one.
There's, my dad was a horseshoer, bro. Like, we were going to ranches, and you would think you were like in Omaha, Nebraska, or
absolutely
Dubuque, Iowa, or even Canada, which is super redneck. The majority of Canada is super redneck,
but not in the major cities. And that's what you see. That's what we get from the news is that, Canadians are super liberal. Well, not really. The ones who aren't just happen to live on their own land and live by their own laws and live by their own rules.
Yeah, and don't give a shit about anything else.
Nope.
They're like honey badgers. They just don't give a shit.
God, honey badgers are awesome.
Did I just bring up something from like 5 years ago that really isn't relevant anymore?
Dude, yes. The honey badger is
it's
whatever, dude.
Awesome.
Fuck the hype. The honey badger is a real animal. It's legit.
And
look it up on YouTube. Honey badger is an African, I think it's African version of a badger. I think here we have the striped badger. We have a couple different badgers in North America. We do have badgers in San Diego. Apparently they live in very areas where most people aren't ever going to see them. So you'll probably never see a badger, but the honey badger is an African badger. And I don't even know why it's called the honey badger. I'm sure someone can correct me on this. Send me angry emails. It's
deceiving. It's like a wolf in
Send me
clothing.
Angry emails about why I don't know. How dare I not know why a honey badger is called a honey badger to projectxreclamation@gmail.com. Literally send me any.
I bet they like sabotage and terrorize honeycombs and
it's possible.
honeybees.
It's possible.
Or whatever.
But I mean, you will literally just look it up on YouTube. You will see videos of a honey badger not afraid to fight a lion or a cobra or cobra. Maybe not a cobra. Cobras live in India. I'm not really sure. Anyways, they might live there too. I have no idea. I am not an animal expert. I am certainly not an animal expert. However, the honey badger is awesome, and they are not afraid to fight a lion. I have seen a video of a honey badger essentially tearing the testicles off of a lion in a fight.
Dude.
And I'm fairly certain that the lion ended up killing the honey badger before that fight was over.
That lion had scars on his testicles.
Well, and he had no testicles at the end of the day because
so
the lion couldn't go. The lion couldn't go to the. The lion couldn't go to the urologist to get that shit replaced.
I know. He's like
when he was done. So the honey badger probably died. That honey badger died with a big smile on his face. He's like, I may be dying, but you're a girl now. Dude, well, not even a girl. I mean, you're not even. You're just you're
tissue in his claws.
You're now asexual. You're essential, Jax. I mean, you're what do you call it? What do you call a horse when they? I was gonna go
gelding.
There you go, gelding.
Yep, pretty awesome.
Pretty awesome.
For sure. We covered a lot in this episode.
We really did. I think that's about it.
Yeah, guys.
Y'all
be
have
good to one another.
Week. Be good. And, do your reclamations.
Focus forward and keep the good fight up.
Peace.
So what I believe you were trying to say is thank you.